Hi everybody, this is Caroline Sotheby and welcome to another Up, Down and Around Town. Well, I hope you had another nice Mother's Day and the week has really come up and a lot of things have happened from the Friday, it's April 30th, which was Arbor Day. And on that day, quite a few volunteers landed up at the police station. Brian Martin, as usual, takes charge. Last year, trees were planted at the City Hall. This year, 18 of them were put in the police station, and with 3 dedications, which we'll get to that, maybe more on the following week. But at that moment, there was a transition of a microphone from Brian Martin to our Mayor Pro Tem, Rob DeSena. He was Mayor Pro Tem at that time, but now is our mayor. So let's go to that segment, okay?
With that, Mayor Pro Tem Rob DeSena.
Thanks, Brian. Thank God everything is starting to subside. It's good to be out in public and see everybody. And I want to thank Brian, DPS, FOP, all the volunteers who are here to help really subsidize part of the grant, since we get reimbursed for that, or we get credit for the hours that everybody puts in. So again, thank you very much. And let me put my cheaters on here. Read this proclamation. The City of Wyandotte proclamation, whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. Whereas trees can reduce the erosion of precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now therefore, by virtue of the authority vested in me as Mayor Pro Tem of the City of Wyandotte, I do hereby proclaim April 30th, 2021 as Arbor Day in the City of Wyandotte, and I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and support the efforts to protect our trees and woodland. Further, I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. In witness thereof, I do hereby set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Wyandotte to affix this 30th day of April 2021.
And that started the whole process that day. Brian, with a group of his crew, showed the proper way of getting a tree planted. You had to take off the burlap very carefully, make sure the roots were okay. From there, you tried putting it into the hole. Of course, it had to have certain dimensions, a double width, and of course, deep enough for the roots to be there. Then, of course, you filled it with soil, and then you wrapped the tree with this gauge to make sure that it had a chance to be supported, at least for the first part of the year. A water insole was put in so the water can drip into the soil and keep it moist instead of worrying about it. And then finally, everybody else had a chance to go to their own areas, and 18 more trees were planted. A lot of volunteers working different areas, I have to give credit to the Bryant to encourage quite a few of the families, the auxiliary, the veterans, and they came to support and help them. And of course, this is a tree that was devoted to our Mayor Pro Tem, our past Mayor, Joe Peterson. And other two are going to be talked about on another show when we get the signs and go with the proper picture of each one of them. One was, I know, an Officer Witkowski from the 1922. He was given the notoriety because at that time it was bootlegging time, remember? Or maybe you might not remember, but anyway, he was ambushed by three supposedly fellows that didn't exactly like the fact that he had them put in jail. But he was shot and killed on 3rd and Davis. Another one just recently passed away in the last couple of years. He was also early in his 30s, and we'll be talking more about his life and his devotion to the police force. So anyway, we left that day. People were still working, but we did at least get a bird's eye view of how many trees that were already being planted and up. Next thing we went to was a farmer's market on Thursday. It's not as extensive as it was last year, but this was the first day. It was sort of rainy that day, but that'll be on from now to October. People can start coming in on the Thursday between 2 and dusk. And most of the time, it'll probably be 7 or 8 o'clock at night. Another thing came up. Hey, the Oakwood Cemetery cleanup. Now, we went there Saturday, and I'll tell you what, volunteers are going in every direction. You had people that were weeding, people that were picking up trash, kids from school, and even some adults were taking chunks of cut wood and taking it out to either a dumpster or a wagon. They had also a person going there with cutting the wood and explaining to the kids, pretend you're a lumberjack. If that piece of wood is too heavy for you, throw it out in front of you rather than right there, because you can hurt your ankles and that. So that was a way of teaching kids a little bit about, hey, the lumber world, so to speak. There was families actually going and taking care of items around the tree, planting, weeding. It gave families an idea of, hey, this is something that nature, not too many people get a chance to do that. Okay, I went away for about an hour, came back and saw some results of what had been taken care of. A lot of areas were planted. This one had a bird bath over there. We went to another section was considered to be an FOP area that they were going to take care of, charge of, and found out that in that little section, monuments that were maybe found, didn't know where they actually belonged, were now going to be taken and put in that section.
It was dedicated to all the graves that are lost somewhere in the park. The stones happen to have come apart from the ground. So what we've decided to do is, this was some time ago, is to make this area the remembrance of those whose graves are here, but we unfortunately don't know where they're at.
Oh, okay.
So this is where everybody will be. Should we have any more stones or anything like that that are going to come up floating around or broken apart.
I understand this is going to be considered the FOP project?
Yes, this section is going to be adopted by the Fraternal Order of Police Wyandotte. So we'll get with our members and see if we can get some other members out here to keep up while they're in the area, and I think everything's going to turn out great.
While I was there, a fellow I think must have something to do with the cemetery. He came and explained where those monuments came from on the other part of the cemetery.
And it got moved when they were trying to do it, and it was sad. And that always bummed me out that we had that poor thing. And I came in here today and I seen this, and all of these people right here are from to the right back in there, and also maybe some of them are back over there by the pollinator garden, where they were staked and they moved and they put dirt down to level it, and then the gentleman who did it passed away, and the location's been lost. His name was Don Hedger. He's not buried here, but he has a stone by right next to the Spanish-American War. And he was a cool dude. I'd smoke cigars with him as he was fired up. He'd tell me stories about being in the 6th Fleet in Midway. He was on a submarine, World War II, and survived.
Went to another area that showed our veterans' dedication from many years ago, still there. A woman was at a tree, and I asked her, how did she pick that one? And she said, well, when she came, they said, take your choice. And she liked that one, and she explained exactly what kind of flowers she was going to put into it.
I have marigolds I'm going to put within. They come out, the tall marigolds.
Oh.
I thought it would look pretty within all the...
Yeah.
And there's a stone on the other side that I just unburied.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I'm going to put a couple of marigolds. They're all seeds,
Okay.
so they'll come up, I think, really well.
Beautiful. Thanks. And as we were out in that section, there was a way of giving you an idea of what transpired over the winter season. There, what used to be paths where if it rained, it either flooded or it was muddy. Well, this company actually came into town, put all this through the path, filled it up. It's not smooth, but at least it's not muddy. So it wasn't too bad for some of the volunteers. They didn't have to worry too much that day about wearing boots. Okay, other area, there were quite a few the American Legion people around one tree getting ready to put the plants in, and another one that was already complete from the first hour that we saw them. One thing I got to make comment about, the ground was not exactly what you call nice and soft. There was one woman, I had to take a picture of her because she was trying to get a shovel into that dirt, and it wasn't the easiest thing. She actually landed up pounding her feet on the shovel. But at the end, when I came back towards the end of the session, this is what it actually looked like. So she made that shovel do what she wanted her to do. There was also another corner where they were getting ready to dig for plants. Somehow the shovel hit something, so they were curious to find out what it was. It wasn't body parts, thank goodness, but they were picking up bricks, and they were trying to figure out exactly what was down there and what the ending results would be. I didn't hear anything else after that. I think it's hopefully just bricks. One big thing we had to talk about, they had even a bulldozer come, and they lifted up some of the old bushes on the entrance area. A lot of work there. You can tell where the roots from the trees have seeped in and really took hold under that. But they managed to fix it up. It took a long time. It was past the 4-hour shift that they were supposed to be on, and it managed to really look great. So when you start going through the cemetery now, maybe it's not all done the way they want it yet, but it's a good improvement. And you got to thank all those volunteers that came out. Even Ron had all his, I shouldn't say all his kids, because even some kids that played sports or were in his class came out for extra credit and helped take a lot of the debris to the trash barrel, and especially that old lawnmower. They had to really work hard in order to push it across that whole cemetery thing to the trash barrel there. Okay, so that's as far as they go right now. We'll probably be hearing more if they're going to need more help. We have to thank them. I mean, Eula, and I hear Mr. White and the usual people. I didn't get a chance to talk to the president of the association, but maybe eventually we can find out more what's going to be done with the rest of the cemetery, what plans are there, and how we can help out. All right, so that's basically what happened last week. This week, hey, get ready for the citywide garage sale. That's happening the weekend. Also, Gleaners will be having a food distribution on Friday between 9 and 11 at the Yak Arena. They have usually very good supply. We've gone there sometimes after, say, 10 o'clock just to see how they're working out and how much they have. You usually get potatoes, onions, fruit, basically apples. Sometimes they have milk. At one time, I think they even had frozen hamburger. So if you're in need, or if you know somebody that's in need of food and they can use a little bit, go down there. You can even give somebody else's name or address so you can pick it up for them. All right, that's on Friday now. That's 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock. Hey, you know, as long as we're talking about Yak Arena, if you still need those face masks, they still have them. You can get a package of 5 of them. Amy said that last week that they still had some left. So make a visit down there and say, hi, can I have a face mask? Okay, what else is happening? Okay, we just talked about Oakwood Cemetery. This coming week, they are going to be planting the plants all the way around Biddle Avenue and surrounding area. Remember, a month ago, they joined forces and a lot of the people met at First and Elm Street, and then they signed up where they were going to go and what lot they were going to take care of. Well, that was done. I saw Maggie, though, just the other day, and I said, well, with you planting flowers, isn't that nice? And she says, yeah, well, we still have to weed. And not thinking about it, we had plenty of rain, right? And so a lot of plots still came up with some of the weeds, so might be thinking of weeding and planting at the same time. But if you're willing to be a volunteer for that, meet at 9 o'clock on Saturday between 9 and I think it's 1. So hopefully that area will be taken care of. Okay, what else? We talked about face masks. Oh, hey, if the weather's nice, we'll probably have rowing on the river. That's the Y Highs this weekend. 2 weeks ago, they didn't have, they had the cup. The wind was so fierce that they had to cancel it. Wyandotte had been doing pretty well for that. So come now to the Riverside and cheer on and get an idea how Wyandotte is doing this year. Okay, that basically takes care of everything. We have to say hi and bye, and hopefully you'll have a nice and safe weekend. Let's hope the weather's nice. So all this is going to take place, okay? Take care meanwhile, and we'll see you next time on Up, Down, and Around Town. Take care now. Bye-bye.